Welcome to the course of Cryptography and Network Security. This course is for 4th BTech first sem. Myself G. Prashanti, Vignyan's Lara Institute of Technology and Science, Department of Information Technology. In today's class, we are going to go through the key rings. Okay, so here are key rings. These key already in previous class we have seen that while doing that confidentiality and authentication, while performing confidentiality and authentication, we require some private and public keys. Okay, so like while doing like authentication, okay, while performing like authentication, what you are doing is that you are taking like message M. Okay, while performing authentication, you are taking like message M, where this message M goes through the SHA algorithm and a hash value is generated, and this hash value is encrypted. This hash value is encrypted with the private key. Okay, this hash value is encrypted with the private key of the source. Okay, so this hash value is encrypted with the private key of the source, and then it is attached to the message, and it is sent to the and then zip operation is performed, and then it is sent to the receiver. Okay, so here what the receiver will be doing, so the receiver uses the public key. Okay, so to compare that hash function, what he will be doing is that he will be using the public key of the source. Okay, he will be using the public key of the source for decrypting that. So to know, to maintain those keys, okay, to have that public and private keys, okay, what BGP will be doing is that it maintains key rings. Okay, so one ring for public key rings and another is your private key rings. Okay, so similarly, if you take your confidentiality also, so if you take like confidentiality where the session key is encrypted. Okay, where the session key is encrypted with the public key of the destination. With the public key of the destination, okay, with the public key of the destination, the source will be encrypting the session key. Okay, so here whatever the source requires the public key of the receiver. Okay, so and where the destination will be encrypting with his private key. So here there is a need for the public and private keys when doing like authentication and confidentiality. So we require some keys like public keys and private keys. So here for knowing those, for providing those public and private keys, what the PGP does is that it maintains key rings. Okay, so here the PGP maintains a public key ring and a private key ring. Where those public key ring consists of the public keys. Okay, public keys of all the entities, and similarly the private key ring consists of the private keys of the entities. Okay, so here it has been seen that two key IDs are included in any PGP messages. Two key IDs in the sense that public key and private key. Okay, two key IDs means that public key and private key are included in the PGP messages that provides both confidentiality and authentication. Even for the confidentiality, so here the session key is encrypted and decrypted with the public and private keys, and similarly for authentication. Okay, and similarly in authentication also, whatever the hash value that you are having, that hash value is also encrypted and decrypted with the public and private keys. Okay, so here whatever the messages that is being sent and received, it requires two keys, public keys and private keys. Okay, so these keys needed to be stored and organized in a systematic way for efficient and effective use by all parties. Okay, if there are n parties, so remembering the public key of each and every one is very difficult. Okay, remembering the public keys of all those parties is difficult. So what here the PGP do is that it stores and organizes in a systematic way whatever the public keys and private keys of the parties. The parties' private and public keys are stored and organized in a systematic way. Okay, so here the scheme used in PGP is to provide a pair of data structure at each node one to store the public private key pairs owned by that node, and one to store the public key of other users known at this node. Okay, so here what the PGP will be doing is that it maintains a pair of data structure. Okay, it maintains a pair of data structure at each node. One data structure is for the public key and one data structure is for the private key. Okay, so these data structure are referred to respectively as the private key ring and the public key ring. Okay, so the private key ring maintains the private keys of all the parties. Okay, or however, if there are n members in a party, okay, this private key ring maintains the private keys of all those n members. Okay, and similarly we are having a public key ring where in public key ring maintains the public keys. Okay, whatever the n members you are having, all the public keys of those n members will be placed in your public key. Okay, so that is the public key and private key ring where so the PGP maintains a data structure. It is public key ring and private key ring is a data structure. Okay, so where the PGP maintains the public keys and private keys of all the parties in those data structures. So public key ring table. Okay, so public key ring table. So this is your public key ring table. So this is the data structure maintained by the PGP. Okay, so here what this public key ring table, it is the format for this public key ring table is shown here. Okay, so it consists of these IDs like user ID. Okay, so where user ID as in the private key ring table, the user ID is usually the email address of the entity. Okay, so this user ID, okay, this user ID is the usually the email address of the entity. Okay, so these are the this is the information. Okay, this is the information that is stored by the PGP for each node. Okay, or we can say for each entity. For each entity, the PGP maintains information, maintains all this information. Okay, so first information that the PGP maintains is the user ID, where the user ID is nothing but the email address of the entity, and then it stores the key ID. Okay, where key ID is the first, or we can say least significant 64 bits of the public key. Okay, the key ID is the first, or we can say the least significant bits, 64 bits of the public key. Okay, those 64 bits of the public key are stored in this key ID. Okay, and then public key. So it is nothing but the public key of the entity. Okay, since public key ring maintains information about the public key, so along with the information of the public key, it also maintains some other information like who is the user. So what are the certificate of that user? What is the time and date when the public key has been generated? All this information is also stored in the public key. Okay, so public key is nothing but it is the public key of the entity. So the public key of the entity will be stored in this field public key. Okay, and similarly, the next one is like producer test. Okay, so here this producer test trust. Okay, so this producer trust column defines the producer level of trust. Okay, so here we are having a producer level of trust, and this producer level of trust will be in three values: none, partial, or full. Okay, so producer level of trust. Okay, so like if you take like this. Okay, so there is a trust. Okay, you will be having a trust model where how much trustful are the entities here. Okay, So here, for example, you are having three types of trust here: fully trust, partially trust, and untrusted. Untrusted means that none. Okay, he is not at all trustable. Okay, so these three. So here at the producer trust. Okay, so depending upon the trust. Okay, so here you will be having either F value or P value or N value. Okay, so that is the producer trust. Okay, so it is a producer level of trust, and similarly you are having certificates also. Okay, so certificate, this column holds the certificate or certificate signed by other entities for this entity. Okay, so here a user ID may have more than one certificate. Okay, so here suppose these are the different entities that you are having. So here one person can sign the certificate for another person. Like Annie can sign for Alice, and Mark can sign for Alice. Okay, and similarly John can sign for Annie. So in that way they can sign the certificates. Okay, so and those certificates will be stored in the column called as the certificates. Okay, this column holds the certificate, and each user can have more than one certificate also. Okay, so all those certificates are stored in the field called as the certificates. Okay, and the next column we are having is the certificate trust. This column represents the certificate trust or trust. If Annie sends a certificate for John, PGP searches the entry for Annie, finds the value of producer trust for Annie, and copies that value and inserts it in the certificate trust field for John. Okay, so here, so as I have said, so any member can sign for any member. Okay, so if like Annie is if suppose Annie is signing the John. Okay, so like Annie is like Annie has signed for the John certificate. Okay, so how much trustful is Annie is? Okay, since Annie has signed the certificate for John, so how much trustful Annie is? So since LO in the sense that the Annie is partially trusted. Okay, since Annie is partially trusted, here we will be writing T. Okay, suppose this is like John's node. Okay, so here you will be having like John's user ID. Okay, John's key ID, John's public key, and how much John is trustable. Okay, so if John is like it is in orange in the sense that John is not trustable. Since John is not trustable, you will be writing N here. Okay, whatever the certificates that John is having, those certificates will be stored here. And then certificate trust in the sense that so the certificate for John has been signed by others. Okay, so if suppose Annie has signed for this John. Okay, so for this John certificate, if Annie has signed for this John, so here if how much trustable is Annie here? Okay, if Annie is like partially trusted, then we will be writing P there. Okay, so in that whoever signed the certificate, whoever entity have signed that certificate, that entity's trust will be written at this place. Okay. Okay, so that is a certificate trust. For example, like Annie has signed the certificate for John. Okay. So and then what this PGP will be doing is that it finds the value of producer trust for Annie. Okay, so similarly you are having the Annie's record also, Annie's user ID, key ID, public key, and Annie's producer trust also. So depending upon the Annie's producer trust, whatever the value that we are having, that value will be copied and that value will be placed in your certificate trust. Okay. And then the last one is your key legitimacy. Okay, so key legitimacy means that this value is calculated by PGP. So this value is calculated by PGP based on the value of the certificate trust and the predefined weightage for each certificate trust. Okay, so based upon the certificate trust, whatever the P value, N value that we are having, based upon that certificate trust. Okay, and based upon the pre-weightage that has been given for the certificate trust, based upon that values, this this key legitimacy value is calculated by the PG. Okay. So and similarly timestamp where the time and date when that public key has been generated. Okay. So these are the different information that is maintained for each node, for each entity you can say. Okay. So for all the entities that are in that session, we can say for all the parties in the PGP. So the PGP maintains a public key ring table that consists the information about the entity like user ID of the entity. Okay, where user ID is nothing but the email address of that entity, and key ID is the least 64 significant bits of the public key that will be stored in the key ID. And similarly public key, whatever the public key of that entity, that public key of the entity will be stored here. And similarly producer trust. Okay, if the entity is like John, here, if we are storing the information about the John, so here since John is an untrusted entity, then we will be placing here as N. Okay, and similarly whatever the certificates that John is having, those certificates will be stored there. And similarly we are having a certificate trust also. Okay, where the certificate trust is like so whatever the certificates that John is having, those certificates must be signed by some other users. Okay, so how much trustable the other users are, so that trust will be stored, the trust value will be stored here. For example, like this John, so if there is a John, so this John certificate has been signed by this Annie. Okay, so signed by this Annie or sent by this Annie. Okay, so whatever how much trustable this Annie is. Okay, so since Annie is partially trustable, so we will be writing like P there. Okay, so and similarly key legitimacy based upon this certificate trust and based upon that predefined trust weightage that is given for the certificate trust. Okay, so the PGP will be calculating some value and it will be storing that value. Okay, and similarly timestamp, time and date when the when this public key has been generated. Okay, so when it comes to certificates, already we have said that here we will be storing the certificates. Okay, so whatever the PGP certificates, there is for signing those certificates. Okay, so for a person, the person can have a certificate. Okay, the user can have a certificate. So in PGP there is no need for the certification authority. Okay, so there is no need for the certification authority. Anyone in the ring can sign a certificate for anyone else in the ring. Okay, so if this is like a ring here, so if it is like a ring here, anyone in a ring can sign the certificate for anybody else in a ring. Like Calvin can sign for Mark, or Mark can sign for Doug. Okay, so anybody in the ring can sign for the other member. Okay, there is no need for any certificate authority. Okay, and similarly you are having, so since anybody can sign in the ring, so here it has introduced a concept like trust and legitimacy. Okay, so where the entire operation of PGP is based upon the introducer trust, certificate trust and legitimacy of the public keys. Okay, so that is about the format of the public key ring table. So next we are having is the private key ring table. Okay, so this is the private key ring table. So here the private key ring table, as we have studied in public key ring table, consists of user ID. Okay, where this user ID is nothing but the email address of the entity. Okay, email address of the entity. And similarly we are having a key ID also, where the key ID is the least significant 64 bits of the public key for this entity. Okay, for this entity, or we can say for this entity, the 64 least significant bits of the public key will be stored in the key ID. Okay, and similarly public key. Okay, so it stores the public portion also. Okay, so it stores the public key portion of the pair. So here, so this public key, it will be storing the public key also, and then the private key. Okay, so it will be storing the private key also. Whatever the private key of that person is stored here. So here, since the private key, since the private key has to be kept as secret. Okay, so since the private key should not, whoever opens this ring, okay, that person should not be able to see this private key. So to make that private key as secret, what they will be doing is that they have to encrypt the private key, and that encrypted private key value has to be stored in the ring. Okay, so here whatever the private key, that private key is not directly, since the private key has to be kept as secret. Okay, since private key has to be kept as secret, so the private key is not directly stored here. The private key will be encrypted. Okay, the private key will be encrypted, and that encrypted private key will be stored in that field called as the encrypted private key. Okay, so if any person requires that private key, so it will be that key will be decrypted, and then it is sent to the to that person. Okay, so to view that original private key, that decryption is required. Okay, and similarly, last one is the timestamp, the date and time when this key pair was generated. Okay, the date and time when this public key and private key has been generated. That is nothing but the timestamp. Okay, so this is the format of the private key ring table. Okay, so those are the two keys. Okay, those are the two key rings that the PGP maintains. Okay, so maintains in order to organize and in order to organize and efficiently use of the public key and private keys. Okay, while doing like authentication and confidentiality, we require some public and private keys. So for accessing those public and private key rings, the PGP maintains two types of rings called as the public key ring table and the private key ring table. Okay, so what the steps? Okay, so the next topic is steps involved in PGP message generation. Okay, so whatever the message that is being generated in PGP, so what are the steps that are involved that we can view here? So here we have done like no compression. Okay, steps like, so already you know the 4 steps that PGP does is your authentication, confidentiality, compression, radix 64, segmentation. So here we have like omitted like no compression or radix 64 conversion. Okay, so here whatever the message. Okay, so whatever the message we are having. So first that message will be going to the SHA algorithm. Okay, so it goes to the SHA algorithm and a hash value will be generated. Already this we have discussed in your previous sections. Okay, so where this scenario is for generating the signature. For authentication purpose, this entire scenario is for generating the signature. Entire scenario is for generating the signature. Okay, this entire scenario is for generating the signature, and this one is for showing the encryption process. That is nothing but the confidentiality. This part is for the authentication, and this part is for the confidentiality. Okay, so here already we have gone through your authentication operation with the message M. Okay, or the message M that you are having, that goes through your SHA algorithm and a hash value will be generated. Okay, so to make this hash value as a signature, what we have to do is that you have to encrypt this hash value with the private key. Okay, so private key of the source. With the private key of the source, this hash value has to be encrypted. So to get that private key, already we have said the PGP maintains a private key ring. Okay, since the PGP maintains the private key ring, since the this hash value has to be encrypted. Okay, so what the PGP does is that it goes to this private key. Okay, so it goes to the private key ring, and it will be selecting the IDA. Okay, whatever the identity of that source, based upon the identity of the source, it will be taking the private key. Okay, already we have seen your keyring. Already we have gone through your keyring. This is your private keyring where you will be having a user ID, key ID, and also you are having an encrypted private key also. Okay, so here we require this. So to encrypt that hash value, we require this private key. Okay, to get that private key, what we will be doing is that we will be searching for this ID. Okay, since it is the source. Okay, source. Since this is the source A. Okay, since it is the source A, so based upon the ID of that source A, based upon the user ID of that source A, so we will be searching for the private key and key ID. Okay, and then we will be getting this encrypted private key and key ID from this private key. Okay, so since already we have said that in the keyring the private key is in encrypted form. Okay, since the key is in encrypted form, so we have to decrypt it. Okay, to secure that private key. Since the private keys has to be kept as secret. Okay, so those private keys has to be kept in a scrambled form so that nobody can view that private key. So for that the private key is placed in the encrypted form in the private key. Okay, so here this private key has to be decrypted. So that decryption is done by using some passphrase. Okay, so or we can say passphrase or with some password. Okay, by using that password, whatever this private key that you are having, that private key will be decrypted and you will be getting the private key. Okay, so by using that private key, your hash value will be encrypted. Okay, your hash value will be encrypted, and this encrypted hash value. Okay, this encrypted hash value and this signature and also the key ID. Okay, and also the key ID all are attached. Okay, and all are attached. Okay, the signature, message, and the key ID all are attached here. So with that, we will be generating the signature for the message. Okay, after generating the signature, if it is like confidentiality is required. Okay, if confidentiality is required, what is done is that, so here the signature plus message that we are having, okay, the signature and that message is encrypted. Okay, the signature and the message is encrypted with the session key. Okay, by using this random number generator. So RNG in the sense that random number generator, by using this random number generator, we will be generating some session key. Okay, so by using that session key, by using this session key, we will be encrypting this signature and the message. Okay, so after encrypting that signature and message, okay, so this after encrypting this signature and the message, we will be getting an encrypted message. Okay, so after that, what we have to do, since the session key has to be sent to the receiver also. Okay, since the session key has been generated by the sender, it has to be shared to the receiver also. For sending to the receiver, what this sender will be doing is that the session key will be encrypted. Okay, the session key will be encrypted with the public key of the destination. Okay, so here the session key is encrypted with the public key of the destination. To get that public key, what the PGP uses is the public key. Okay, so whoever the destination that has to be sent, you will be checking for that particular person ID. Okay, so to whomever you want to send, the data, so on his ID, okay, you will be selecting that destination ID, and based upon the destination ID, you will be taking the public key. Okay, already we have seen the public keyring, where the public keyring maintains the public key of the entity. Okay, so from that you will be taking the public key, and also you will be taking the key ID. Okay, so and then by having this public key, so this session key will be encrypted, and then this encrypted session key ID and the signature all will be attached, and we will be getting a final one. Okay, so doing like authentication and doing like confidentiality, you require like private keys and public keys. So where the PGP maintains those public key and private key ring. So whenever required, so it searches the private keys and public keys in that particular key rings. Okay. So the previous slide is for the sender side. Okay. So this is like steps involved for sending the PGP message. Okay, the sending PGP entity, or whoever the sender PGP entities, he will be performing all these operations. Okay, so similarly at the receiving PGP entity. Okay, the receiving PGP entity performs the following steps. Okay, so a previous slide is for the sending PGP entity, and this slide is for the receiving PGP entity. So here what the receiving PGP entity does is that first he has to perform like decryption. Okay, so he has to perform like decryption. After performing that decryption, he will be doing the authentication. This is for authentication. Okay, so whereas in previous slide you have seen that where there you have generated the signature and then you have done the encryption. So at the receiving side, what the receiver has to do is that first he has to do decryption and then he has to do the authentication. So here already this is the output that we have received. Okay, this is the output that we have received after performing the operations of the sending entity. Okay, so okay, so this is the output of the sending entity where we have key ID. Okay, where we have taken like key ID. So encrypted session key. So where you have like key ID, encrypted session key. Okay, encrypted session key along with the encrypted message. Okay, so the output of this entire process is your key ID, encrypted session key, and encrypted message. All these are sent to the receiver. So here the receiver will receive all these. Okay, so let's see here the receiver got the receiver's key ID. Okay, and then encrypted session key. Okay, and then the encrypted message plus signature. Okay, so from these what he will be doing is that he will be taking the receiver key ID. Already we have appended in the previous slide. Okay, so he will be taking that key ID and from the private key. Okay, so here since the for decryption, for the message to be decrypted. Okay, here for the message to be decrypted, what we require is the session key. So to get the session key, what is to be done? Okay, for decrypting this session key, we require the private key. Okay, so here for decrypting the message, we require a session key. So for getting that session key, what we have to do is that we have to decrypt this session key by using this private key. So this private key we can get from this private key. Okay, so here we will be searching the ID of the receiver based upon the receiver ID like IDB. We will be getting the encrypted private key, and again from the by taking some passwords we will be decrypting the private key. Okay, we will be decrypting the private key and we will be achieving the private key. Okay, by using this private key, the session key will be decrypted and we will be getting the session key. Okay, so after that getting this session key, whatever the message that we are having, the message is decrypted. Okay, so the message is decrypted. Okay, so after decrypting the message, what we will be getting is sender's key ID, encrypted digest, and message. Okay, so here again we will be taking the sender's key ID. Already we have attached in your previous slide. So again we will be taking the sender's key ID. So based upon that we will be searching for the public key. So since your digest, whatever the hash value that you have encrypted, since the hash value is encrypted, that encrypted hash value has to be decrypted. So for decrypting that, what we require is your public key. Okay, so to get that public key, what we will be doing is that, okay, so for decrypting this hash value, okay, for decrypting this hash value, we require the public key. that we will be getting from the public key ring, and then this hash value will be decrypted and you will be getting a hash value. Okay, and then on the message M, on the message M, again we will be applying the SHA algorithm. On the message M, again we will be applying the SHA algorithm, and again we will be getting a hash value, and this hash value is compared with this hash value. If both are same, that means that it is an authentic. Okay, so that is about the steps steps that are performed at the receiving, where first we will be decrypting the message. Okay, for decrypting that message we require a private key, and that private key we will be taking from the private key. Okay, and then we have to do the authentication. After decryption of the message has to be authenticated. For authentication, what we require is the public key. Okay, to get that public key, we will be using the public key ring, and from that public key ring, we can retrieve the public key and we can decrypt the digest. Okay, and then for the message M, or for the message, again we will be generating a digest, and this digest is compared with this digest. Okay, so that is the steps followed by the PGP entity at the receiving side. Okay, that is about the PGP, where PGP is nothing but pretty good privacy. Okay, so pretty good privacy. Okay, so pretty good privacy that provides like email security. So it is like providing for the email security. So to provide this email security, it will be using 4 operations. First one is authentication. Okay, first one is authentication, and the second one is confidentiality. Third one is like compression. Okay, so fourth one is like compression. Fourth one is email compatibility. And the fourth one is segmentation and reassembly. Okay, so it uses these operations to support that email security, where it will be doing that authentication. For authentication, it will be generating the digital signature. To authenticate the message, we will be using the digital signatures. Okay, by using these digital signatures, authentication is done. Okay, so for authentication of these, we will be using the algorithms like RSA, SHA algorithm, okay, and similarly DSS algorithm. So by using that, digital signatures will be generated, and those signatures will be authenticated. And similarly confidentiality. So where confidentiality is like encryption and decryption process. To provide secret sharing of the message, we are having like confidentiality, where in the confidentiality the PGP uses the symmetric key block ciphers. Okay, so it will be using the block ciphers, symmetric key block ciphers, for doing the encryption and decryption of the messages. Okay, so it will be using like cast 128, okay, or either it will be using IDEA, okay, or either it will be using triple DES. Okay, so triple DES for encryption and decryption of the messages, and for doing that encryption and decryption, okay, and for doing that encryption and decryption, we require a session key. Okay, for the secret sharing of that session key, we will be having algorithms like RSA algorithm, okay, or we can have like Diffie-Hellman key exchange. Okay, by using like Diffie-Hellman key exchange or using RSA, the session key can be shared secretly between the sender and the receiver. Okay, and the next one we are having is the compression. The third one we are having is the compression, where for the compression, the PGP uses your zip algorithm. Okay, so the PGP uses the zip algorithm for compressing, where in the compression by default PGP will be compressing, and this compression is done after authentication. That means that after appending the signature, okay, after appending the signature to the message, this compression will be done. Okay, if it is like confidentiality, if it is confidentiality before encryption only, so this compression has to be done. Okay, and this compression is done so as to save the storage space. Okay, either to store storage space or for a saving space during the file transmission, this compression is done by the PGP. And the next one is your email compatibility. Okay, so where email compatibility is like converting, okay, so converting your binary stream into printable characters. Whatever the binary stream that you are having, those binary stream will be converted into printable characters by using this email compatibility, and that conversion is done by using the Radix64 algorithm. Okay, by using this Radix64 encoding scheme, so the binary stream is converted into printable characters by the PGP. Okay, and since why this is done, because since email supports transmission of printable characters only, so email does not support the transmission of binary stream, it supports only transmission of printable characters. That is why we require conversion from, okay, that is why we require conversion from binary data to printable characters, and it is done by the Radix64 encoding scheme. Okay, and the next one is your segmentation. Segmentation is done when your message is too big, okay, or whatever the file that you are transferring, if that file is too big, then in that case what the PGP will be doing is that it will be segmenting the file. Okay, it will be dividing the file into segments, or we can say it will be breaking the file into segments. Okay, and then those segments will be sent through email. Okay, at the receiver side, what the receiver will be doing is that he will be doing the reassembly. Okay, all those segments has to be reassembled before the authentication and confidentiality. Okay, so reassembly should be done before all other processing like authentication, confidentiality, compression, like that. Okay, so and segmentation is done after all processing, including your conversion also. Okay, so segmentation is done after all processing, that is authentication, confidentiality, compression, email compatibility. Okay, so that is the segmentation and reassembly. So another thing in PGP is that, so while doing these digital signatures, while generating this signature, and while doing that okay, and while generating the signature, and while encrypting the session keys, okay, while encrypting the session keys, and while generating the digital signature, you require some private and public keys. Okay, we require some private keys and public keys. So here to know that private key and public keys, okay, so to have that public and private keys, what the PGP does is that it maintains the keys. It will be maintaining a private key ring, and it will be maintaining a public key ring also. Okay, so it will be maintaining private key ring and it will be maintaining public key ring. Okay, so that it is so that the keys can be accessed easily. Okay, so it will be using a data structure. Okay, it will be maintaining a data structure at each node. Okay, so that data structure for a private key and a data structure for the public key. Okay, so that data structures are said to be the private key ring and also said to be the public key. Okay, so where the private key ring, whatever the private key ring, that private key ring consists of the fields. Okay, so that private key ring consists of the fields like user ID. Okay, where you will be having an user ID. So this user ID will be having the email address of that entity. Okay, whose information that we are storing, so that person's user ID will be stored. And similarly, we will be having a key ID. Okay, so where key ID is the least significant, least 60 significant bits of your public key. Okay, and similarly we will be storing the public key also. Okay, so and in that private keyring we will be storing the public key portion also, and also we will be storing the encrypted private key. Okay, so as the private key has to be kept as secret, so we will be storing the private key in encrypted form. So while accessing that, the user will be accessing that private key, they will be decrypting by using the passwords. Okay, so here along with the public key, the private key will also be stored, where the private key will be stored in the encrypted form. And also the timestamp when that public private key pair has been generated. Okay, all that information will be stored in the private key. Similarly, we are having the public key ring also, where in the public key ring also we will be having like user ID, where the user ID stores the email address of that entity, and then we are having like key ID, so where that key ID stores the least significant bits of the public key, and also we are having the and also we will be storing the public key, since the public key is known to all. Okay, since the public key can be announced, there is no need for encrypting the public key and storing. The public key will be stored directly. Okay, since the public key can be known to all, that public key need not be encrypted, that will be stored directly in the public key. Okay, and then after that we will be having some producer trust. Okay, so producer trust in the sense that how much trustful that particular entity is. So it can be in terms of fully trusted, partially trusted, or non-trusted. Okay, and similarly we will be storing the certificates of that entity. An entity can have one or more certificates. Okay, so the entity can have one or more certificates. All those certificates will be stored there, and in PGP there will be no certification authority. Okay, there will be no certification authority, so the certificates will be signed only by the members in that ring only. Okay, so if there is any Annie and John, Annie can sign for John certificate. Okay, so that is the certificates. Certificates field consists of the information of that certificate. And similarly we are having the certificate trust also. Okay, so certificate trust, like if Annie has signed for John like that, so what is the trust of that Annie? Okay, the trust of that Annie will be stored in that certificate trust. Okay, and similarly we are having like the next one, like we are having key legitimacy. Okay, so where in key legitimacy, that key legitimacy value will be calculated by that PGP only. Okay, based upon the certificate trust value and based upon the predetermined weightage given to the certificate trust, so that key legitimacy value will be calculated by the PGP only. And then we finally will be having a timestamp, date and time when that public key has been generated. Okay, so all that information will be maintained in the public key ring. All that information will be maintained in the public key. Okay, and while doing this authentication and confidentiality, if you require like private key, you can access this private key ring and you can get that private key ring. And similarly, when you are doing like confidentiality, so for encryption of this session key, whatever your public key or whatever your public key that is required, okay, whatever the public key that is required for encrypting that session key, that you can get from this public key ring table. Okay, so from this public key ring table, you can get that session key and you can encrypt the from this public ring table, you can get the public key and you can encrypt the session key. Okay, similarly while encrypting the hash value in digital signature or we can say in authentication process, so you require the private key. So that private key you can get from this private key ring table. Okay, so and that is about the pretty good practice. Thank you.